So number one, B would approximately be equal to 13.336. And on number two, A would approximately be equal to 12.881. And then when we talk about the distance formula, D is approximately going to be equal to 13.342. And then the distance on number four is approximately going to be equal to 7.211. And then midpoint, remember, is the middle between the points, the middle of each one. So -3/2 and 13/2. And then we've got -1/2 and -2. Done. Okay, that's it. Super easy, just like yesterday. Okay, so we have a couple definitions to talk about, maybe, if I can get it slide up here. The first one is the number I. The number I is a number that, when squared, gives a negative result. And it's I equals the square root of -1. Okay? And because I equals the square root of -1, it follows that I squared. So if I square both sides, right? If I square the I side, I have to square the other side. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side, right? I squared equals -1. Because the square and the square root cancel out, right? So I squared equals -1. So you're going to use that one a lot. I squared equals -1. Our next definition is a complex number. A complex number is a number that can be written in the following form: A plus BI, where A and B are real numbers. A real number is just any number we've been working with, okay? Any type of number. And B cannot be equal to 0. That's it. 2 definitions. Any questions on those definitions?
No.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I have to straighten up. Fix the thing here. Okay. So now we're going to start working with the problems. The first ones are pretty easy. We just want to express the square roots in terms of I. So what's the square root of -9? Well, I'm going to kind of work through this thought-wise first so you can see how it works. So I can rewrite this as the square root of -1 times 9, right? That's right? Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
You two quit talking. The square root of 9 is
8.
Just
kidding.
is 3. And then we know by definition that the square root of -1 is I. So the square root of -9 is 3I.
3.
Okay? Because the square root of 9 is 3. So I can do the same thing. Nice job, by the way, Skips. I can do the same thing with 12, only I'm just going to simplify it, right? So 12 is, what is 12? 12 is 4 times 3? Yeah. So the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of the negative is I. And then what's left inside is 3. 2I root 3.
Nice.
Thanks.
Wait, where did the 3 come from?
Because 12 is 4 times 3.
Oh, okay.
Right? And we don't know what the square root of 3 is. I mean, we do, but it's some unending and repeating decimal that, I'd have to approximate. Okay, square root of -17. Negative square root of -17. Whew, let's say that right. So 17 is 17. Can't do anything. But I can do something with the negative sign. What can I do with that negative sign? Bring it out as an I. So that means -I root 17. That's it.
Yes.
Okay? Can you guys do that? Awesome. Do the next 3 problems, please.
Wait, number 1?
Yes.
Where did the -1 come from?
-9 is just -1 times 9. So you're just using the definition of what I is, which is the square root of -1,
Yeah,
right?
that kind of makes sense.
What? Yeah, so what I would do, I could have taken this one more step further, Aya, And I should have taken this one more step further and written this as like the square root of 9 times the square root of -1, right?
Yes.
Right, and now I can write this as 3i.
Oh.
Because
I equal, the definition, remember, the
Yeah,
definition of I is the square root of -1.
Because I is equal to.
the square root of -1.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just.
Yeah, I should have just taken it one more step further. I'm sorry.
Because I didn't understand where
Yeah.
you pulled that number.
Yeah, I just multiplied them out. I just factored it. So you could see why it's
It's because she's
I.
a
Okay.
generator.
Okay, so do the next 3 problems, please. Okay, guys, so really, you guys? Really? No, I'm sorry. So here we go. The middle one, but the last one I got is 4. Okay, so here we go. So for A, right, everyone already heard Nia, it's 10i, because the square root of 100 is 10, and the square root of -1 is I. Okay, so the middle one, I don't know what the square root of 5 is, but I do know what the square root of the negative is, and that's I square root of 5. And for everyone who put that into the chat box, remember it's little I, not big I. I don't know why you were using the big I. I don't know. Okay. Oh, it might capitalize automatically. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Oh, yeah, because it's I, so you're in your iPhone or your iPad. Yeah, that's true. And then the last one is 8 is 4 times 2. So the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of the negative is I. And then I still have a 2 left inside. So it's 2i root 2. Moses, are you okay with that being in 2 instead of 4? Yeah, okay, great, awesome. So that's it on those. So we're going to go to the next section where we're just going to simplify. So 60, okay, 6. So I'm just going to simplify my square root. 60, what goes into 60? 4 goes into 60, there we go. And it's 4 times 15 is 60. Yeah, two 15s make a 30. Yeah, that's right. So nothing's going to happen to the 4. And then minus, the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of the negative is I. And then I have the square root of 15. So 4 minus 2i root 15. Okay, questions?
Yeah, that made no sense.
Okay, which part? The 4 part. So just take away, honestly, when I'm doing this, I'm just going to kind of ignore this part right here. Because there's nothing to do with that part.
Because it's already outside.
Right, it's already outside, so I'm not doing anything with that. I'm just dealing with the square root part, right, this part, and then I'm doing exactly what I did right up here. I'm doing everything I did right above. So, right, 60, I know 60 is 4 times 15. Right, because 15 and 15 is 30, and 15 and 15 is 30, and 2 30s make 60, okay? So 4 times 15, so the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of the negative sign is a I, and I have a 15 left inside.
So even though it's on the outside, you would still...
Oh, because I wrote it on the outside up here?
Yeah, because...
Because I just didn't have any room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is just what 60 equals. Are you okay?
What about the 2 at the bottom?
This 2 at the bottom?
Yeah, like...
Because I have a 4 on the inside. So yeah, I could... sorry. I could rewrite this as -4 times 15, right?
Oh, okay. That's where I get lost.
Okay, so I just didn't take...
If it can't just be squared to one number...
Correct.
You would see
Right.
what it multiplies by to get it? Okay. I understand now.
Okay, yeah, I just factored it. Okay. So on number 5, I have to do it twice. I'm going to factor twice. So 72, and I'll just write out the steps. So 72 is, what is 72? Negative 36 times 2. And then, of course, minus the square root of negative 25. I don't have to do that one. So the square root of negative 36 would be 6i, root 2, and then minus 5i. All right, so on number A, um, 84 is 6 minus the square root of negative 4 times 21. So that means I've got 6 minus 2i root 21. Done. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of the negative is I. And then the 21 still left
Get
inside.
everything out of the square root.
Yeah, I'm bringing out what I can outside of the square root. And 21 is 7 times 3, so there's no double, two of the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. See?
Okay.
So, if it wasn't 21, can you like take more out?
Of course. Yep. Yeah, I take out as much as I can.
Okay.
Yep. So then on B, I've still got negative square root of 4 plus negative square root of 4 times 3. So this would be, I don't know why I put a negative in front of it. I'm so sorry. It should not be negative. There we go. So this would be 2i plus 2i root 3. Now I already kind of said this. I cannot add these together because this one has a root and this one doesn't. And remember when we were doing square roots 2 days ago? Well, a couple days ago. I can't add them together unless they have the same root because roots kind of act like variables. So unless the roots, they're both have a square root of 3, I can't add them together. So that would just be my answer. 2i plus 2i root 3. Okay? So I can't combine it together and say it's 4i root 3. Because a root acts like a variable. This is like saying 2 plus 2x. Can't add that together. Okay? All right. Is there any other questions on that? Are we okay so far? That's just simplifying square roots and talking about i's. Okay. That was hard? I'm sorry. Okay, now we're going to go to something easier, though. We're going to perform the indicated operation when in and write our answers in the form a plus bi. So the I has to be last. So the first thing we're going to do is add, right? It's super easy to add i's. I'm just going to combine like terms. That's it.
Wait, what?
Combine like terms.
Oh!
Combine like terms. Yes. So that means the 5 is a like term, and the 8 is a like term, and the 6i and the 9i are like terms. So my answer would be 5 plus 8 is 13, I believe. And negative 6i plus 9i would be 3i. Done.
So 3i plus 13.
Nope, 13 plus 3i.
Does it matter which one?
Yes, because look at my directions. It says it needs to be in the form a plus bi. The i's are usually always last. I know that you think it's a variable and we want to think it's a variable. It's not. It's an imaginary number, so it has to be last. Okay? Okay. So number 2, we have a subtract sign. So same thing, I'm going to find my like terms, right? 8 and 2 and 7i and 4i. So I've got 8 minus 2 is 6. And 7 minus 4i. 7 minus 4i is 3i. Yeah.
So 6 minus 3i.
6 plus 3i.
Wait, what line?
Because it's 7 minus 4.
Equals a positive.
Oh.
Thank you, Aya.
Okay. I got
Okay.
this.
Went to a different page, sorry. Oh, there's 3 problems for you guys to do. So here we go. So number A is, what is number A? 5 plus, no, not plus, so sorry. 5 minus 3i. And then number B is 7 plus 2i.
What?
5 minus 3.
Is what?
5 minus 3.
Yeah, 5 minus 3.
So because it's still in the positive, you put plus 2i.
Did you?
Equal to negative number, then it has to be put.
Oh, I was just using it. I was using the negative, the subtract subtraction because of the sign in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta subtract, no. Yeah, but you still have to do the still thing. It's still 5 minus 3.
No, I'm talking about the second one.
I know, it's still 5i minus 3i is still positive 2.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be 7 minus 2i?
No. Because then that means the 2 is now negative.
Oh!
But it's not negative, it's positive.
Yeah.
Oh, wow!
7 minus 5 is 2, and minus 4 minus a minus 3 is minus I. And you could put 1i or minus I don't care. Whichever one you want to put. You don't have to put the 1. You cannot put 2i. That's not the thing you can put. You can't put negative 2i either.
I'm just kidding.
So I think there's only, what the heck happened? Okay, so now we're going to start multiplying. So that was adding and subtracting, right? Not too hard. That's just combining like terms. Now we're going to start multiplying. And when we multiply, we have to remember the other part of our definition, which said that I squared equals negative 1.
Without the cube.
Huh?
I mean square root.
Yeah, because if I equals the square root of negative 1, when I square both sides, then I squared equals negative 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the first page.
Yeah, that was on the first page. But we're going to use that now.
Okay.
Okay, so 3 times 9 is 27, and I times I is I squared, but we know that I squared equals negative 1, so my answer would be negative 27.
Why?
Bruh.
Is it because you're multiplying these
Yes,
together?
yes.
Okay.
This is confusing me.
Maybe if you weren't talking while I was trying to teach.
Okay, wait, that makes sense.
Oh!
That makes sense.
Look, because A, I'm reading 40i squared. So then that makes it.
What is she
40.
saying? What?
Negative 40.
She's doing A.
Negative 40.
What? Yeah.
Woo!
Okay, number 2. The square root of negative 49 is negative 7 times the square root of negative 16, which, oh, not negative 7. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Nia's got me all confused. The square root of negative 49 is 7i times the square root of negative 16 is 4i. I multiply that together. 7 times 4 is 28. I times I is I squared, but I squared equals
Negative 28.
negative 1, so that my answer is negative 28.
Woo! I'm so good. Someone put it.
I'm so glad you're paying attention now.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead and do A, B, and C.
Okay, I got you. Dang, what do you do if it's in parentheses?
I don't know, what does something inside parentheses mean mathematically?
That it goes first?
Oh my.
Is it?
It was really big you graduated, huh?
No.
No.
So 40i squared or negative 40. 24i squared or negative 24. And then the last one, let's see, this is 6i times 3i, which is 18i squared or negative 18. Nice job, you guys.
Both answers are acceptable
Which one?
for 40i squared and negative 40.
No, it's negative 40.
So they just, but you were just breaking it down.
Yes, I was breaking it down step by step.
Step by step.
Okay, so the next little one is we're just distributing now, right? So I'm doing the same thing. I'm either distributing once or double distributing. Okay, so I'm going to take 7i, I'm going to multiply it through. 7i times 3 is negative 21i. Let me make it bigger. Sorry, I keep forgetting in here. You guys need to see it. because I can see it fine on the iPad. And negative 7i times 4i, oh, there's McKenna, is negative 28i squared, right? But I squared is negative 1. So I'm going to get 28 minus 21i. Questions? Okay. All right. Not a problem.
It's negative 1.
Yeah, it's I squared.
So then it just cancels out.
Yeah, negative 28 times negative 1 is positive 28.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. And then I'm supposed to write it with the real number first and then the imaginary number second. Yes. Hi, McKenna.
And that's it?
That's it. Done on that one. Okay, so for number 2, I can do it, I can distribute twice or I can use the box to multiply. It doesn't matter. Whichever way you like to multiply, it works either way. So I'm just going to go ahead and double distribute because I don't do it that way very often. So I'm going to take the 6 and I'm going to multiply. So 6 times 3 is 18, and 6 times 4i is 24i. And then negative 5 times 3 is negative 15i. And negative 5i times 4i is negative 20i squared, right? But that I squared is negative 1. So that's 20 plus 18 is 38, and plus 9i, I think that's what it is. 38 plus 9i. Questions?
Yes, it's kind of on the, so does the 20 just be, negative 20 just become 20 to take that?
Yeah, negative 20 times negative 1 is positive 20, plus 18 is 38. Yeah,
Wait, what did you add together?
right here.
What was your-
So do you see this? Negative 20 times negative 1
Yeah.
becomes positive
How
20.
did you get 38 plus?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Plus 18.
Plus 18.
Yeah, here's my 18 right here.
Oh.
Equals 38.
Oh.
Bruh.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then negative 24. Now, if I was going to do it in the box, I might as well just do it both ways. I think it might be sometimes a little easier sometimes with this. If you want to do it this way, it's fine also, right? So I've got 6 and negative 5i and 3 and 4i. So I've got 18, 24i, negative 15i, and negative 20i squared. And that's negative 1, so this is actually 20. Now both diagonals are like terms, right? So 18 plus 20 is 38, and 24 minus 15 is 9. So this diagonal is like terms, and this diagonal is like terms.
Congo, do you have any
You
food?
combine like terms.
Yes, always combine like terms.
Okay. See, that's where
Okay.
I thought.
So it doesn't matter which way you do it, the double distributive, and some people like to do it that way, or like the box, and I really prefer the box method, but because it organizes the data a little better. Okay, so now you guys have 3 problems to do. Go. I have granola.
You're so annoying.
The answer for A is, everyone who put the answer in the chat box got it right, by the way, is negative 20 minus 24i. Nice job. I. And then the answer for B was 1 plus 5i. And the answer for C is negative 5 minus 12i. Lovely. Anybody have any questions on those answers?
Wait, negative 5
Yeah,
minus 12i.
yeah.
I didn't finish it, but.
I know, you're going to get there. You're going to write that answer down to see if you're going to get it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you will. You're doing good.
My favorite thing is when you get copy problem.
I know, right?
I'm like,
Okay, so on the I think this is oh no, it's not the last part. I'm like, is this the last part? No, not quite, but we're getting there. This is where we need to remember, rationalize the denominator, right? Because the I is a square root, even though it doesn't look like it. Remember, I can't have a square root in my denominator, so I'm going to multiply so I don't have a square root in my denominator, right? So on this one that's here, the one that's just a 5i, I'm just going to multiply by I over I, right? It's a 1. It's a special one. So I'm going to multiply by I over I. So that means in my numerator, I'm going to get 2i plus, oh, that is so not an I. Let me rewrite that. Let's try this again. 2i, there we go, plus 7i squared all over 5i squared. Are we okay with that? Right? And then all my I squareds turn to negative 1s. So that means my answer here would be negative 7 plus 2i, all divided by negative 5. That's it. Pretty easy to get rid of it if it's only a 5i, or a number and an I. Okay? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I was just.
Oh, here, let me make it bigger, sorry. Okay, so it's a little harder if my denominator, right, if my denominator has 2 terms in it, because then I have to use the conjugate. Remember I told you I'd come up with the name of it. And does anyone remember what the conjugate was? Yeah, it's where I have to change the sign in the middle of those 2 terms, right? So this would be, I'm going to multiply by 4 minus 2i divided by 4 minus 2i. So now I'm going to multiply by 2 terms, right?
Wait, how do you do that?
The only thing I do is I change this sign. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So if it's plus, I change it to minus. If it was minus, I would change it to plus. Yep, I'm just going to change that sign. That's it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we did it with like 3, you still change the middle one, right?
Yeah, just change the middle one. Okay, so then I'm going to multiply just like I've been doing, right? So I'm going to multiply this out, and I'm going to get, let's see, what am I going to get? 12i minus 6i squared divided by, let's see, what do I get? 16 minus 8i plus 8i minus 4i squared. Okay? Any questions on how I got those numbers? Okay, everyone's okay? Everyone online, are you guys okay? Okay. Yeah, so 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times negative 2i is negative 8i. And then 2i times 4 is 8i, and 2i times negative 2i is negative 4i squared. And then remember, I squared is really negative 1, right?
Yeah.
So then I can rewrite this as, let's see, what can I write? 6 plus 12i, all divided by 16 plus 4, which is 20. So this one is not quite done. Can anyone see what I can do with this one?
Simplify.
How?
Combine like terms.
No.
It's a good guess.
It is a good guess. Just like simplify was a guess and it happened to be correct. But I want to know how am I going to simplify it? Look at my coefficients. What are they?
I.
12, 6, and 20. And what do I know about 12, 6, and 20?
They're all divisible.
By
2.
Yeah, so I can simplify them by dividing by 2. Okay, all 3 of them. So all 3 of them have to be divisible by the same number before I can simplify it. Okay, so I can divide all of them by 2. So that means I'm going to have 3 plus 6i divided by 10, and this is my answer. Okay, but all 3 of them has to be divisible by the same number. If all 3 of them aren't, then I'm done. Okay? Or all 4 of them, or how many ever terms there are, they all have to be divisible by the same number.
Wait,
Yes.
the coefficients only?
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm going to multiply by, what am I going to multiply by? I'm going to multiply by, let me make this big so people here can see it.
You know what I don't get?
I'm going to multiply by I over I. So that gives me 7I squared plus 14I divided by 7I squared, which gives me negative 7 plus 14I divided by negative 7, which I can simplify because negative 7 goes both into negative 7 and 14. So my answer would be 1 minus 2I. Done.
So you can't cancel them?
Cancel what? Just the negative 7? No. Has to go into both terms. So I divided it into both terms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just at the second step of 7I squared and looked at the same.
You just cancel that. But this is not 7I squared. It's 7I squared plus 14I.
Oh.
There's a plus sign. If it was times, then yeah, I could cancel it. But because there's a plus sign in there, I can't cancel it.
Got it.
Okay.
Am I off the next step?
Wait,
Does that make sense now? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, did you tell me to wait? Are you good?
Yeah, wait, what were you explaining to her?
So she said, she asked if she could just cancel it like this, go like that, and cancel that out. And you could if this was not plus. But because that's plus, I can't do that. If it was times, remember when we were doing it times, I could just cancel that out if it was times.
yeah.
But because it's plus, I can't. This negative 7, this 7 has to go in both terms, not just one.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. So on the second one, basically it's almost exactly the same thing. So I'm multiplying by I over I. So I've got 6I squared plus 3I all over 3I squared. So that gives me, what does that give me? Negative 6 plus 3I all over negative 3. So that's going to be 2 minus I when I simplify it. Because negative 6 divided by negative 3 is 2, and 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. Okay? All right.
Where you have to.
Oops, it switched page. Last page, we're still doing look guys, we're doing exactly the same thing, only we have more terms. Let's see how we're doing. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to see where we're at here. So we might only do a few of these ones. So again, I'm going to do exactly what I just got done doing, multiply by the conjugate, right? 7 plus 4i divided by 7 plus 4i. Right, and then I have 2 multiplications to do. I'm just going to come over here and do them in little boxes. So I've got, I don't know why I'm doing this. Let me just multiply it out in my head really quick. 35 plus 20i plus 21i plus 12i squared. I think that's it. And on the bottom, we should get 49 plus 28i minus 28i minus 16i squared. Whew.
that's a lot of.
4 on each. So that becomes a negative 1. And I wrote negative 4. And that becomes a negative 1. And then I get, let's see, so 35 minus 12. 35 minus 12. 23.
Open the number.
Yeah. And then plus 41i. And then on the bottom, I'm going to get 49 plus 16. So 49, 59, 65. And nothing goes into all 3 of them. Huh?
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's it. Questions? And we've already done this before, right? It's just very similar to the last problem we just did, except I'm multiplying.
Does that say 21?
Yes. The 21i, yeah. Okay. So because we're going to run out of, I don't want us to run out of time before I explain the next thing. I'm pretty sure you guys are okay with this concept. Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Is everyone at home? Is everyone okay with this? Because we have done it before. I just want to make sure. Okay. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go to the next one, next thing we need to talk about, if that's okay with everybody. So can I go ahead? Or do you need a few more seconds?
Just need a few more seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just going to go down to the simplify here. And basically, I want to simplify I to the 19th. And I'm going to use the concept that I know that I squared equals -1. And I know that rule, right? So what I want to do is I want to turn I to the 19th power into a whole bunch of squares. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite this I to the 19th as I times I to the 18th. Okay? So all I did is took one I out and just said, because I times I to the 18th is I to the 19th. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
So I factored out one I. Are we okay? So now I'm going to rewrite this again. And I'm going to rewrite this as I times I squared. So how many groups of two i's do I have in 18?
Wait, what?
How many, listen to my question. How many groups of two i's do I have in a group of 18? Nine, right? So this is I squared to the 9th power. Because I have 9 groups of 2 in 18. Are you okay with that? So what does I squared equal?
I, negative. Positive.
9.
-1. I squared equals -1, right? So now I can say I times -1 to the 9th power. Is everyone okay with that so far? So what's -1 to the 9th power? Whew.
-1 to the 9th power is +1. -1.
Are you sure?
-1 to the 1.
9th power.
9th power.
Wait.
It's negative.
It's 1.
Yeah.
No. So look, negative times negative is positive. Positive times negative
It's
is
-1.
positive times negative. Oh.
Yes.
Because then it's just 2, 2, and then that last one makes it negative.
Very good. Yes, good.
I knew that.
So that's a good way to think about it. Yeah, right? For every 2 negatives I have, I get a positive, right? So 2 negatives give me a positive. And I have 9 negatives. So that means I have an odd negative. So it's going to be -1. Because 1 to any power is going to be 1,
So
right?
if it's even, it's gonna be
Positive. If it's odd, it's going to be,
negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
right? Is that a good way to think about it? Because we know 9, although I had one class that said -1 to the 9th power was 9.
-1 to the 9th power is 9.
Yeah, because they did 1 times 9.
It's okay, I did that first.
So then that means it's going to be I times -1, which is -I. That's it. So I to the 19th is -I. And I know I did a lot of steps, and it looks like a lot of work, but I did the steps so you could see the thought process, right?
Yeah.
Just want you guys to know this. So there's thought process. The steps aren't hard, right? It's just writing out your thoughts. So do you need me to do it again?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have 3 problems to work on. Go ahead.
Could you just like skip all that and because you know it's gonna be a negative?
I don't know that it's going to be a negative. Well, I do know that it's going to be negative, but I don't know if it's going to be I.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
There's 4 answers it possibly could be. It could be 1, -1, I, or -I.
Okay.
So once you learn the shortcut, yeah, there's a way that you could do it.
Okay.
If you pay attention, there is kind of a pattern to it. Okay, so I to the 38th, I'm going to do the same thing, right? I have an even number of i's this time, so I don't need to pull one out, which makes it nice, right? So I can just say I squared. How many groups of 2 i's do I have in 38? half of 38?
19.
19. So I have 19 times 2 is 38. So really how I do it is I take that number and divide by 2, right? It's the easiest way. And then I squared is -1 to the 19th equals what?
Wait, what?
-1 to the 19th power.
+1. -1.
Are you sure?
Wait, what?
No.
Kind of.
-1 times 19.
No, -1 to the 19th power.
-1.
Negative. Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Because she wasn't when I asked her.
No,
She just sat there and stared at me.
I just remembered.
I was like,
Remember, we just got done talking. If it's a negative x, if it's an odd exponent, my answer is,
negative.
and if it's an even exponent, my answer is
Positive.
positive. Okay? It still applies on this one. It applies on all of them. Okay? Okay. So are you starting to kind of see a little bit? Right? Okay. But I still have to do this, at least this step right here, right?
Yeah.
To find out. So here we go. -I to the 6th power. Whew. Okay, so I already have a -1 here. So I'm going to bring a -1 out. And then I have I squared. How many groups of 2 do I have?
In 6.
In 6, yeah. Hopefully you guys know that one, right? 3. So I have a -1 times -1 to the 3rd power is going to equal what?
-1 times.
+1. Because the
Because this one is what? Oh, sorry, you can't see me. Sorry. What's this one?
Negative.
Right, and then times,
The negative is positive.
yeah, there you
So
go.
it's 1 to the power of 3.
No, it's just 1.
Yeah, but
Yes, okay.
I just
Wait.
wanted to go into expansion.
Can you go back to the first one?
Of course I can.
Okay, I just want to see it.
Where'd you get -1 for the last one?
Can we?
Yeah, you can go back.
Okay. Because it was -I, so basically this can be written as -1 to, -1 times I. So that 6 can, I guess I should have written that as, oh, maybe this is not right. Because this should be -1 to the 6th power. Sorry, you guys.
Oh, that one.
Why should it be negative? Because this 6 is on the outside, so I can write this -1I to the 6th power, right? So that 6 goes to everything inside,
oh.
right? Which that was my mistake,
Wait,
by
but
the way.
isn't I with the 1 though?
Yes, but I want to separate the I by itself,
Oh.
right? So this becomes -1 to the 6th, so this should be -1 to the 6th power. So my answer probably should be -1.
Wait, shouldn't that turn into a positive?
No, because this -1 to the 6th power is positive.
Wait, what?
Is that not correct?
Like,
Negative times negative, negative times negative, negative times negative. That's 6 ones.
yeah.
Positive, 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 they're all positive, so it should be +1.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a positive, this is a negative, which means it's going to be a -1. Yeah.
So
That was my fault. I missed the parenthesis, I missed the exponent being on the outside of the parenthesis.
Oh.
See, this exponent's on the outside of the parenthesis. Therefore, it goes to everything.
Wait, so even though the 6 is on the 1,
The 6 is not, which 6, honey?
So you know how the 6 is
This one right here?
You know how it's like parentheses 6?
Yes, here?
Yeah.
Yes. So that means this exponent goes to everything inside, the negative
Yeah,
and the I.
understand that. You know how when
Okay.
you break it down to parentheses,
Here?
yeah. To
Okay,
the second
yep.
one,
Yeah.
the I squared is still 3.
Yeah, because this right here still has to be 6. I said how many, I wanted the I, just like before, because I know what I squared is. I squared is -1, right? So I still want to make an I squared. So how many groups of 2 are in that 6? 3.
Yeah, I was just making sure.
Okay,
that's what
no, that part I was right on. The only part I was wrong on, it was the -1 should be to the 6th power also.
I saw that. I was like,
No, you didn't. You got it.
Okay, so do you guys want to try a few of these?
No.
No?
Can you do another one?
Yeah, do you want me to do one of the bigger ones?
Yeah.
Which one would you like me to do?
Either or.
B or C, is that one? It doesn't matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Go see.
go C, okay.
go Crip.
Okay, so I have an odd number of i's on C, so I'm going to pull an I out so I have an even number. So this becomes I times I to the 150th. Okay? So I've got I times I squared. How many groups of 2 i's do I have in 150? 75. Beautiful. Yeah. And then, so I squared is -1, yes? So -1 to the 75th power is going to be a -1. So that means that's I. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have written this out, but that's okay. So that's going to be a -I.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I squared is still -1.
Well, I'm gonna go home.
Because it's an odd number, it would equal negative.
Yep, -1. I to the 75th power, right? Because I'm going to have every 2 make a even, make a positive. So I have an extra one left over, so it'll be negative.
Yeah, I was
If you knock that over, I'm going to make you pay for those new strips.
Oh, dude, I was just looking. I was like,
Dude, that's the second. I saw you purposely shove it into my border.
careful. It's because look,
And
it
then
will not
I
break.
times -1 would still be negative.
You guys.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't know what I'm going to do with her, you guys.
Look.
It's only because Aya's here. She never acted like this when he wasn't here.
I have no one
What's
to
going
talk
on?
to.